This is lesson 5.3, add, subtract, multiply polynomials. A polynomial is, well, it looks like this. You have more than one term. So, for example, you have 2x cubed, 5x squared, 3x, and 9. That's a polynomial because you have 4 terms. The next one has x cubed plus 6x squared plus 11. That's a polynomial because you have 3 terms. Anytime you have more than one term, it's called a polynomial. So we're going to start with addition. When you add polynomials, you're basically just combining your like terms. 2x cubed would go with 1x cubed. Negative 5x squared would go with 6x squared. 3x doesn't go with anything, and negative 9 would go with 11. But I do want to show you, it's sometimes very helpful to rewrite your problem so that you're lining up the corresponding parts. So I have 2x cubed minus 5x squared plus 3x minus 9, and then I'm going to add to that x cubed plus 6x squared plus 11. And notice that I left a blank here for the part that was missing. So now if I'm going to add this, I'm just going to go straight down. Negative 9 on 11 is 2. 3x plus nothing is 3x. This was positive 2, by the way. Negative 5x squared plus 6x is positive 1x squared. And 2x cubed plus 1x cubed is 3x cubed. And so when we add these two polynomials, we get another polynomial that's completely simplified. If we subtract two polynomials, we're going to do the same thing. You just have to be on the lookout to make sure that you line up the proper parts. 9d cubed lines up with d cubed. Negative 3 lines up with negative 4. But the 8d and the 13d squared don't line up with anything. So when I set this problem up, and I have 8d minus 3 plus 9d cubed, and notice I haven't done anything to change the order yet. When I subtract the second polynomial, I'm going to line these up. So d cubed goes under 9d cubed, and since d cubed is positive, I'm going to put it as a positive number. Minus 13d squared, I'm putting over here at the end because it doesn't have anything to line up with it. Then the negative 4 lines up under the negative 3 because they're both numbers or constants. Now, keep in mind we're going to be subtracting. So 8d minus nothing is 8d. Negative 3 minus negative 4, since you have two negatives, becomes negative 3 plus 4, which becomes positive 1. 9d cubed minus d cubed is positive 8d cubed. And if I have 0 or nothing minus negative 13d squared, because I'm subtracting a negative, it becomes positive 13d squared. Now I am going to change the order. I'm going to put 8d cubed first, plus 13d squared, plus 8d plus 1. That way my polynomial is in the proper order with the highest exponent being first. Now when we multiply, we can think of this as a distribution, where you're going to be distributing and distributing and distributing. But I'm going to show you how to do it in a different method so that it's a little bit easier to organize. So I'm going to write this in what is known as the vertical method. So I have negative 2y squared plus 3y minus 6. And it's going to be times y minus 2. So I'm basically setting my problem up the way you might have set up a problem for long multiplication back in the 4th grade. So when I do this, I'm going to start out by doing negative 2 times negative 6, which is positive 12. Then I'll do negative 2 times 3y, which is negative 6y. And then I'll have negative 2 times negative 2y squared, which is positive 4y squared. That's the first row. And then I'll multiply the y. So I'll have y times negative 6, which is negative 6y. Notice I'm just lining it up where the other y term was. y times positive 3y squared is positive 3y squared. Again, I have the y squareds lined up. And y times negative 2y squared would be negative 2y cubed. Then I add these straight down, and you get 12. Negative 6y minus 6y is negative 12y. 4y squared plus 3y squared is positive 7y squared. And negative 2y cubed plus nothing is just negative 2y cubed. And there is our multiplication answer. Let's do another one of those, since that may be something you haven't seen before. I'm going to start out this one by putting 3x squared minus x minus 5 as the top term, because it does have the higher exponent and it has more terms. Then I'll put x plus 2 as my bottom term. So first I'll do 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. 2 times negative x is negative 2x. 2 times 3x squared is positive 6x squared. Go to the next row. X times negative 5 is negative 5x, lining the x's up. X times negative x is negative x squared. X times 3x squared is positive 3x cubed. Then if I add this straight down, I have negative 10. This is negative 7x. This is positive 5x squared. And 3x cubed plus nothing is just 3x cubed. That's the solution to my multiplication problem. Here we are multiplying two polynomials. Alright, so now we're going to try one where we have 3. If you have 3 polynomials, then you're going to start out with the first 2, and we're going to multiply that first, and then we'll bring the third one in afterwards. So this is going to be FOIL. I'm just going to do a times a times 2, negative 5 times a, negative 5 times 2. So a squared plus 2a minus 5a plus, sorry, not plus, minus 10. And I'm going to simplify this further. A squared minus 3a, because if you combine these two terms, you have a negative 3a, minus 10. And then I'm going to bring this a plus 6 down here like that, and go through the process. 6 times negative 10 is negative 60. 6 times negative 3a is negative 18a. 6 times a squared is 6a squared. Then I'm going to have a times negative 10, which is negative 10a, a times negative 3, a times a squared. And I'm going to add these together, which is going to give me negative 60, negative 28a, positive 3a squared, and positive a cubed. So when you multiply 3 terms, you do the first 2 terms first, and once you simplify that, then you multiply by the third term and get your answer. Alright, we also have some special product patterns. Remember, product means multiplying. So if I have a sum and difference set up, that means I've got a plus b times a minus b. They have the exact same beginning and ending numbers, but one of them is a sum, which is plus, and one of them is a difference, which is minus. So if I have a plus b or times a minus b, then it's going to work out to be a squared minus b squared. That's what the pattern is, and I'll show you how to do an example in just a moment. If you have the square of a binomial, binomial means 2 terms, so a plus b, that's 2 terms, and it's squared. That's going to be a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. If you have subtraction, a minus b squared, that's going to be a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. So the last term is plus no matter what. Now these special patterns, for some of you, you'll recognize it and love it. If you don't love it, then you don't have to use it. These are for special conditions or special situations. You don't have to use them. Okay, we also have the cube of a binomial, which is a cubed plus 3a squared b plus 3ab squared plus b cubed. And then we also have subtraction in the same thing. Almost everything's the same except for the signs. So we have a cubed minus 3a squared b plus 3ab squared minus b cubed. Okay, we're going to see some examples with this, and keep in mind that these are just for the special pattern problems. If you don't like the special patterns, then don't worry about it. You don't have to use them. So this is the sum and difference pattern, and it says to take the first term, the 3t squared, minus the second term, which is 4 squared. So I'm squaring each term and I'm subtracting them. So this gives me 9t squared minus 16. So it's kind of just supposed to be a shortcut. If I have 8x minus 3 squared, this is the square a binomial, because it's a binomial squared. So I'm going to have 8x squared minus 2 times 8x times 3 plus negative 3 squared. So if I simplify that, that's going to be 64x squared minus 48x plus 9. If I have x plus 5 to the third power, I'm going to have x cubed plus 3x squared times 5 plus 3x times 5 squared plus 5 to the third power. That's the formula. If I simplify this, the 3 and the 5 makes 15, so I have x cubed plus 15x squared. If I have 5 squared and 3, that's 3 times 25, is 75x. And then 5 to the third power is 5 times 5 times 5, which is 125.